The official list of the 53 Vikings players for 2025 has been released, and it sends a clear message. No one is guaranteed a spot because of status or name. The cuts brought surprises that few expected, especially the presence of several undrafted rookies who defied predictions and earned spots that almost nobody anticipated. But what do these moves really mean for the defense? And why did Brian Flores decide to let go of established veterans to bet on players without draft pedigree? This is the kind of decision that can go unnoticed in a roster announcement, but reveals the tactical identity Minnesota wants to take into the season. Throughout the video, you will understand how these choices fit into an aggressive, interdependent system full of variations. And this approach became clear in the final cut decisions, where veterans who seemed certain on the roster gave way to young players who transformed training camp. The most symbolic case is Elijah Williams, an UDFA who had to attend a tryout to enter rookie camp and now not only survived the 53-man cut, but also earned an immediate role in Brian Flores' plan. During training camp and the 3 preseason games, Williams showed a rare combination of lateral explosiveness and relentless motor. In nickel packages, he was able to split the space between the guard and the tackle on the offensive side, that hole called the B-gap, forcing opposing quarterbacks to throw the ball early, leaving some passing routes still forming and easier to defend. This talent perfectly complements the arrival of veterans Javon Hargrave, a specialist in occupying double teams, and Jonathan Allen, who brings his well-known initial punch to the first reads of offensive linemen. The logic is simple. While newcomer Hargrave anchors, Allen explodes, and Williams opens the angle, the opposing offensive line cannot establish consistency in the pocket. But Flores does not rely on a static approach. The interior also includes Jalen Redmond, Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, and Levi Drake Rodriguez, each offering variations to keep the rotation fresh. Redmond, more technical, works well with his hands to extend plays. Dawkins, on the other hand, projects raw power at the point of attack, useful in short downs. Rodriguez, still developing, provides arm length to contest passing lanes. None of them operate in isolation. On tape, it is common to see Redmond controlling a reach block to allow Ingram-Dawkins to finish the pressure on the same snap. This type of integration is what keeps the line alive throughout 4 quarters. On the edge, the conversation picks up another speed. The rotation starts with Jonathan Greenard and Van Ginkel, veterans who understand snap timing and know how to identify tackle vulnerabilities. Greenard, with his controlled bull rush, forces the pocket to retreat, while Van Ginkel works best in loops and stunts, penetrating the interior when the guard is drawn by a linebacker blitz fake. This containment work creates the perfect stage for Dallas Turner, the first-round pick labeled a game-changer. Turner impresses not only with his first-step explosiveness, but also with hip flexibility that allows him to curve around tackles in a tight arc. In tape analysis, his ability to convert speed into power is evident, forcing quarterbacks to move laterally. And when the pocket breaks to the sides, the presence of Hargrave and Allen on the interior ensures there is no escape. It is a defensive chess game that Flores sets up with precision. The interior collapses, the exterior closes, and the play becomes unsustainable. But the unit's strength does not end with draft names or million-dollar contracts. Outside linebackers Bo Richter and Chaz Chambliss, 2 players who arrived underrated, earned a spot in the rotation by showing consistency in contain reads and applying continuous effort on every snap. On special teams, Chambliss has already proven his value covering punts, with his standout quality being discipline. He rarely misses his edge assignment, something vital against zone-read offenses. Richter, in turn, is pure motor. In pursuit drills, he was always the first to reach the final cone, translating on the field the type of energy that keeps the rotation aggressive even in the 4th quarter. The most intriguing point is observing how Flores uses all these profiles interdependently. There is no first team and second team on the defensive line. There is a constantly moving gear. Williams may start the game, but Redmond closes the first drive. Turner pressures from the edge, but Van Ginkel gets the credit for finishing the sack on the loop. Chambliss maintains the edge, allowing Cashman or Pace Jr., who we will discuss later, to attack through the interior. This approach ensures that Minnesota does not rely on a single name to make an impact. Fans who watch training camp tape and the 3 preseason games will see a defense that reinvents itself on every offensive series of the opponent. Against the Bears, for example, the expectation is that Flores will alternate between 3-3-5 and 4-2-5 fronts, using Williams and Hargrave together to neutralize the running game, while Turner and Greenard threaten from the edge. On the next snap, it could be Redmond aligned with Dawkins, opening space for Van Ginkel to penetrate through the middle. The big message of this roster is that the 2025 defensive line will not be predictable. It breathes rotation, variation, and complementarity. There is no isolated hero. There is a collective capable of wearing down offenses with relentless pace. For the fan, it is the type of defense that captures attention. Every snap seems to hide a new combination. Every rotation carries the chance for an impact play. And all of this is just the foundation. Because the gear only reaches its peak when it connects with the linebackers, especially Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace Jr., and the secondary led by Harrison Smith. If the defensive line is the foundation, the linebackers are the link that translates the chaos created at the front into real opportunities. Blake Cashman is the stabilizer, reading blocking flow with precision and ensuring the defense never loses the initial angle. Ivan Pace Jr., smaller in size but quick to react, attacks gaps before the offensive line can respond, creating tackles for loss and accelerating disguised blitzes. Around them, linebacker Eric Wilson adds positional intelligence, Kobe King provides useful length against tight ends, and Austin Keys, a UDFA who won on details, showed in preseason tape a special skill in green dog blitzes, reacting to the running back's block and attacking in sync with the pressure. This group does not operate in isolation. When Hargrave draws double teams, Pace penetrates the space. When Van Ginkel seals the edge, Cashman appears to finish the play. In the secondary, the cut to only 4 cornerbacks exposed the front office's boldness. Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rodgers, Jeff Okudah, and Dwight McGlothern carry the full load for the season. Murphy is the most complete, comfortable in the slot or outside. Rodgers adds recovery speed. Okudah is trying to revive his career with physical press coverage, and McGlothern, still developing, will see snaps earlier than expected. The risk of limited depth is evident, but Brian Flores compensates with pressure. The safety group provides stability to the corner's boldness. Harrison Smith, a 36-year-old veteran, remains the brain of the defense, adjusting alignments before the snap. Joshua Metellus has become the tactical executor, responsible for leading dime and big nickel variations. Theo Jackson and Jay Ward bring versatility in specific roles, Ward being more agile against running backs, Jackson physical against tight ends, while Tavieri Thomas adds aggression on box blitzes. The collective functioning is the secret. Smith dictates, Metellus executes, and the young players close quick windows, allowing the front to maintain its rotation without deep exposure. This gear only works because Flores rejects the idea of fixed pieces. Everything is integrated. When Allen explodes on the interior, Pace is already shooting through the gap. When Murphy closes the slot, Turner gets a clean angle for the sack. When Metellus rotates, Smith ensures the structure does not break. Even with limited depth at cornerback, tactical redundancy maintains competitiveness. Linebackers disguise pressure to free safeties. The defensive line forces the pocket to protect the defensive backs, and the secondary gives enough time for the line to finish. The system breathes complementarity. Looking ahead, there are clear risks and trends. The heavy rotation and the bet on UDFAs could come at a cost with the wear of the season. An injury to Murphy or Rodgers would require immediate adjustments. On the other hand, the defense was built to survive instability. Elijah Williams, Chambliss, and Keys prove that draft status is not a guarantee, but execution on tape is. For the fan, the message is direct. This is not the defense of an isolated hero. It is a collective organism. Flores prefers to err aggressively rather than be passive. And every snap carries the promise that something decisive can happen. That is what captures attention and fuels anticipation. In 2025, the Vikings defense not only competes, it sets the pace of the game. Thank you for watching and see you soon.